Over in the pages of DC Comics' latest Wonder Woman series, the publisher is really looking to shake up some of the foundations over in Diana's world. In the opening issue of Wonder Woman from Tom King and Daniel Sampere, readers got to see an Amazonian character seemingly dressed up as Wonder Woman stage a violent assault over on a bar. In addition to some of these attacks and a growing number of copycats, it's now up to the rest of our Amazon heroes to respond to some of these lingering threats. My name is Oracle Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and explore the adventures of Queen Nubia, Faruka, Mary Marvel, and Yara Flor over in the pages of Amazon's Attack Issue 1. Before we get deeper into the video, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button over on this video. After the shocking events of Wonder Woman, the Amazons are now fighting a world that no longer wants them. Led by their fearless Queen Nubia, a ragtag group of Amazons featuring Wonder Girl and Faruka 2 frantically searches for answers as their existence and way of life are threatened. Will the tribe survive their new reputation? Find out in the roller coaster of a debut issue brought to you by rising stars Josie Campbell, Vasco Georgiev. This series promises to be an action-packed adventure featuring the greatest warrior women in the DC universe. Amazon's Attack Issue 1 is written over from Josie Campbell, featuring art from Vasco Georgiev. We have colors from Alex Guimaraes and letters over from Becca Carey. In addition, the cover to the issue is coming in over from Clayton Henry and Marcelo Maiolo. Really love the way that Henry is able to capture all these figures over on the page, and I think the eclectic group of characters over in Amazon's Attack is so fascinating. Really loving the logo design that's contributed over to the series as well here. One of the elements that I really hoped DC was going to focus on in the wake of this new era of Wonder Woman was some of the really intriguing developments that readers recently got for individuals like Mary Marvel and Queen Nubia over in Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods. I'm so happy that DC has kind of published this ancillary Wonder Woman series to complement the main book from King and Sampere. Let's go ahead and explore some of the interior artwork in the series coming in over from Vasco Georgiev. Across this Amazon's Attack issue, I was really intrigued with some of Georgiev's artwork here. I thought his art looked even more clear than I've ever seen it before over in some previous stories. I was also really struck at some of the design over for the series. Some of the text pieces and the way that these stories connect to each other almost remind me of a Jonathan Hickman comic book. I especially like some of the political implications we get in this opening page, as that really violent event happening over in West Billings, Montana is referenced over for some of the remainder of the Amazon characters. Really getting a chance to see Queen Nubia pick up the pieces over from the artwork from Georgiev was absolutely amazing here. Also really loved some of the artwork and the colors coming in from Alex Guimaraes. Guimaraes has continued to impress me with that really intricate use of panels and the palette over on the page here. Really think some of the ghostly blue hues over for this copycat character evoked a really strong emotion for me on the page. There's also a shocking amount of colors featured on this page as well, complemented so nicely from the ambitious page design over from Georgiev, really featuring this smaller square panel with the bleed over from Nubia, as well as the interesting sense of architecture and perspective framed along the rest of the page here. I thought it was really interesting how the book did such a fantastic job picking up on the political elements of this tale here. Really, it seems like Nubia is looking to go off on her own and attempt to salvage some of the relations over in the US government. I think this page was yet another really fantastic moment over for artist Georgiev. This really interesting sense of perspective that he lends over to Nubia's figure captures these story elements in really interesting ways. Also, the panels on the right capture such complex emotion from these individuals too. When Nubia meets up with Io over on this panel, we even get an overhead shot here to continue exploring the intrigue in a much different context. Returning to this plot thread with Nubia and Io that's been established across so many DC comics was nothing short of cathartic here. I really think their complex relationship features so many great moments over from Josie Campbell. I think the tension of the book picks up really nicely when Nubia heads over to the US to try and salvage some of these relations. There's some beautiful action sequences here, rendered with a great palette from Guimaraes, as Nubia ends up meeting over with Faruka in the book, too. The way that Nubia is apprehended by some of these government agents who are seemingly possessed really brings such a great action element to the narrative here. I really appreciated some of the appearances over from Yara Flor and Mary Marvel really late in the comic book. It was great to have them acknowledge some of their previous relationships and stories that they've embarked on with each other. Plus, I think the backdrop of the Amazons' attack gives them just a great story reason to really count on each other. It feels like some of these characters are so desperate thanks to the cliffhanger and some of the implications of the final page here. I think writer Josie Campbell did a great job building up the stakes across this Amazon's attack debut, and I really appreciated the gorgeous and sprawling elements of page design over from Georgiev. As we mentioned earlier, it's just amazing to consider how much Georgiev has really grown as an artist across all of these different comic books. So at the end of the day here, I think Amazon's Attack Issue 1 was a great chapter of the series, really focused on fleshing out some of the ancillary Amazons in the wake of the big status quo shakeup that's affecting the main Wonder Woman series. I really did criticize the core Wonder Woman book for being too violent, and while I think Amazon's Attack features some great elements of action, this sense of violence doesn't end up weighing the series down, and also gives this ragtag group of characters a reason to band together over in the first place. I want to know from you, have you been enjoying Amazon's Attack or the main Wonder Woman title? What are some of your thoughts on DC's return to publishing heroes like Yara Flor and Mary Marvel? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for coming to check out our video review over on Amazon's Attack, and we'll be back to see where DC Comics are headed in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.